welcome. Hey everyone, Carol Patrizi of Conversations with Carroll. I am ever so grateful. Thank you, Father, for the day. Thank you, our beautiful guest, Amy Kemp, who you all will hear from shortly, for being here. Thank you, audience, for taking the time to share in the conversations and to be always so open-minded to receive information, process it, think about it, ask questions, let us hear from you. You're greatly appreciated. And as always, remember that you matter and your story matters. And that's why I am here. We are here to hear your stories, to connect those with you that will benefit from stories. And it's one of the many reasons I'm so thrilled that Amy is here today. So we'll jump in and get started. Oh my goodness. So Amy is a strategic, excuse me, business leader. She, as you can see, if you're looking at this, you would read behind you, it says, I see you. She helps people on all levels uncover where their habits come from, help them change their habits, helps us to become more, to actually do less and be more. And that is a quote that I've taken from her. And I laughed with her a little pre-show and said, it seems like I do more. Yes, I accomplished more, but I feel like I'm doing more. So trust me, I am here as you are, as an excited, active listener. Amy, welcome.
Thank you. Don't you think your message that you're known for also is your daily decision and practice?
Oh,
I think that there's something to be said about we teach what we need to learn. So I'm right with you in that the journey to being more and doing less continues on an hour by hour basis for me, always making very slow, intentional decisions about it
mm,
because it's a slippery slope.
it is a slippery slope.
Mhm.
The difference between being well-intentioned and then actually walking the talk.
Yeah.
You said something slowly. For us to slow down
Yeah.
with each decision and allowing each decision to be intentional.
Mhm.
What a practice. And I believe we will be practicing that as long as we're on this planet.
Mhm.
And we will never get that to perfection.
Agree.
However, I'm so thrilled. Share with us. I'm so thrilled for you to tell us you do things a little differently when you work with people. I know you're right now, um, your groups are coming together. Talk to us about your approach to strategic business leadership.
Yes. Most of the people I work with are women, though not all. Um, and I'm finding, especially right now, a deep desire in the people that I work with. Um, they want to create something significant. They want to have a very significant impact on the people they lead or through the work they do, whatever that is, but not at the cost of the quality of their life.
Right.
And it was interesting. I was just on a call today. I kind of felt like it was a little bit backhanded where like I went on a call for one reason and then it was sort of for another reason. Have you ever had that happen?
Oh, often.
Yeah. So I was a little like, anyhow. But one of the things I said was, would I want to grow the size of my audience? Absolutely. Do I have any desire to sacrifice years of my life and take, like, when people talk about having a messy season of growing a business or like where you just have to sacrifice for a short term? I've never had the luxury of that especially as a mom. Like, I'm not missing a year of my kid's life. Or like, I'm not doing that, right? I don't want to. That there's nothing about that that is appealing to me.
Mm-mm.
Now, does that mean that I can't still grow the scope of my impact or my income or my influence on people's lives? Absolutely not. May it take me 6 years instead of one? Yes. But in the end, what I'm trying to create isn't just an outcome through my business, it's a life. I'm using my business as a portion of that, and I want to serve people in very real, authentic ways, and I do. But I also find it to be the most important part of my work is having boundaries with it that protect my family and my health and my quality of life.
Mm.
And so the guy on this call, just to kind of giggle, he said, "Oh, well, most people just want to grow the thing, really fast who we talk to." Because I was saying to him, I do want to grow that. And I want to grow my revenue unapologetically, but
Mm.
not at the cost of this. And he was like, "Oh, well, that's a different answer."
I was not expecting that.
No, no, but I do think there's something about what is success and who's defining it and who are we allowing to define it for us, and being very clear about what success is to you and being very intentional about the choices you make. So that being said, the work I do has is twofold, me living that out, right? Because if I'm out of integrity with it, nothing works, but also helping other women become more intentional in the same way and creating boundaries between their ambition and their lives that help protect them so that they feel great about all of it.
I love what you have said. Number one is I love that the gentleman you were speaking with was thrown off a little bit. And you know what's cool about that is I believe that he is going to think about that and
Yeah.
he will be processing that information. And I think that'll end up being such a gift for him and certainly for his family and loved ones as he processes the information.
Mhm.
Um, you
Yeah.
said something that is of enormous importance. You said unapologetically, you want to grow your business and the income and the clientele and all the things.
Mhm.
However, you're only willing to allow that to be at a certain cost.
Mhm.
And you know what that cost is because you're setting boundaries with
Mhm.
your growth. You know, so many times people look at boundaries as something we have to set to protect us from others. I wonder how often we relate boundaries to protecting us from our own ambitions
Mhm.
and desires. The
Mhm.
next thing you said is that you're okay with that process of growth taking 6 years instead of one,
Mhm.
because that 5 years, the was so full of other successes
Yeah. And
and
important things like the good stuff, right?
good stuff.
Oh my gosh, yesterday I went into the city. We live near Chicago with a friend. We play pickleball a lot. You can't talk to me for more than like 20 minutes without finding that out. But we went up there and we played at a different place just for the fun of it. And then met her son for lunch. It was a beautiful day in the city. It was so fun. We had so much fun playing pickleball. And then I loved meeting her son, right? I'm not missing that.
Yeah.
That also is success, right? Meaningful friendship, hobbies that you love, pure joy at just playing, all of that. There's a whole chapter in my book about having boundaries with your goals. Anything you have a relationship with, in order for that relationship to be healthy, must have boundaries. So we
Mm.
have relationships with our businesses, we have relationships with our goals, we have relationships with ourselves without question. And so I tell this story. This is a really great example of because that sounds so great, right? I mean, it sounds so lovely. And my goal always, like my goal with a boundary is that I work like a teacher, meaning 8 to 3, Monday through Friday, weekends off, and I do light summers. Um, and then I want to work like a teacher and get paid like a CEO. So that provides both the goal, the ambition, but also the boundary. Well, this is the story I tell in the book. I had a call with a prospective client. She was amazing. Like, and our
We're all
conversation,
excited.
our conversation was so connected and in tune, and the work I do was so perfect for where she was in her journey. So at the end of the call, she said, I don't even need to talk to my husband. This is a for sure yes. And I said, awesome. Let's go ahead and schedule your first session. And she said, okay, I can only meet in the evenings during the week.
Oh gosh.
And so then you're at this crossroads, right? Of, okay, well, what do I do? So what I did was I said, I need to sleep on it because I'm terrible in the moment at saying no. But I just said, I need to think on it. And so I gave myself the night. But when I called her back, I said, if I say yes, I've undermined the integrity of everything I teach and do with my clients. And if I do that, nothing works. I mean, it's just a complete breakdown at that point. And so if you can't meet during lunch or whatever, it's just going to have to be a no.
Hmm.
It was a no.
Hmm.
And that was a huge amount of income, a deep desire to serve, someone I really cared about and wanted to help and could have helped. But at the same time, that's the practice of boundaries. That's where you really get to experience the pushback of really deciding, making those decisions and living in them. And it's hard.
First of all, thank you so much for sharing that. And the next thing is congratulations,
Mm,
because I am a believer in when you did, first of all, you processed the information. You didn't make an impulsive decision.
yeah.
And that is to be congratulated. The next thing is I like the gentleman that you spoke to yesterday.
Mm,
He's going to be thinking about your answer.
yeah.
She, not only did y'all have a very great connection, integrity above all else.
I know.
And you are walking the talk. I just, in our newsletter, we were just talking about that. Here we are in September. And anyway, you're walking the talk of your program. You're walking the talk of
Yeah.
what you teach. And you
Yeah.
said to her, if I say yes, it negates
Everything.
everything. And all of a sudden, my guess is there would have been another yes and another yes to these evenings. I
A
have to
hundred.
tell you, I believe that you will make more money from doing that
Mhm.
than any money that I know. Listen, it's not easy. We all have hopes and dreams, and whether it's a charity or something we like or need to buy or someone we want to support in our families, more money is more money.
Yeah.
And it can be used for such good. However, I think you're going to make a lot more money than the money you said no to
Mhm.
by being in such integrity with yourself. I know the audience hears what I hear, and it's like, okay, this is a person who believes in what she does so much
Mhm.
that she
Yeah.
sacrifices
Yeah.
the golden handcuffs.
Yeah. And maybe I won't too, right? I mean, there's that reality too.
Well,
But
sacrificing it in the present
I
moment.
think it's worth it either way. And I do believe in what you're saying. Energetically, I believe that if you create healthy boundaries, and this is like with anything, right? If I invest from 8 to 3 every day, Monday through Friday, working at my business with intention and real passion, and then I protect the time when I'm investing in the other parts of my life equally, and I give that the same level of care, do I believe my efforts are multiplied 100%? I've always believed that and I've lived it. I believe that to be true. And I
A
actually think it's sort of like a rebellious act in our current world to live that way.
little
I,
disruptive. I
yeah,
like
it's a little bit countercultural or something where we're just faster, faster, more and more, faster, faster, more and more. And I see a lot of practices that are becoming really popular right now that are fighting that energy. Like people are doing sourdough bread, which takes a lot of time. I'm not doing that, but I do a lot of like flowers. There's a lot of yoga. There's a lot of like practices that are very slow. And I pay attention to that. Like, why? Because we're trying to counterbalance that energy of like productivity at all costs. No.
absolutely. Well, and really, I do believe that these practices that you're speaking of that slow us down
Yeah.
and allow us to be more in the present. And I love that you said, give the care
Mhm.
and the energy that you're giving to this productivity and to building businesses and taking care of that same amount of care into the other parts of life.
Yeah.
And surely there is, surely there is a success on all the levels when you do that, because there's not a resentment
Yeah.
of what's happening here. It's more of, this is what I get to do.
Mhm. Yes.
I'm covered in chills when I say that.
You know, you're giving me like the perfect intro. So, in this very same chapter about the boundaries in my book, the assignment at the end is to do a resentment audit,
Oh wow.
because the way you discover where you're missing boundaries in your life is to pay attention to the feeling of resentment. So when you feel resentful, I want you to imagine and even hear my voice in your head that there is a neon sign over your head that says missing boundary, missing boundary, missing
Mhm.
boundary. And
Mhm.
when I think about resentment, this is the best way I can describe resentment, which is like I'm in the kitchen cleaning up after dinner, and my husband is on the couch, and I'm like quietly pissed, but I'm not communicating my needs, right? I'm not asking for what I need because he would get off the couch and help me in a second if I just asked,
Right.
right? But I'm that's resentment, right? Or I said yes, but it was like a dirty yes where I said yes kind of under duress or out of a feeling of obligation. And that's actually that client, had I said yes to her, I know when it was 6 p.m. and my family was out there having dinner or whatever, and I had to come in here and do a call, I
Yeah.
would not be feeling great about that. And I
No.
would feel like yuck, right? It would just not
Yes.
feel good to me. And so, but that's how you know there's a missing boundary in your life in any space, wherever you have that feeling. And you can just put in your notes in your phone or carry around a little notebook and just write down, just observe it for a week. And you'll start to see patterns. Like it's around one person, it's around one environment or group of people. It's
Mm.
maybe around one habit. Maybe it's around like alcohol, where you feel resentful because you don't want to have that drink, but you feel like you have to. And so you say yes, and then you don't feel good the next day and you didn't even really want it. And, there's all that. Well, what is that? That's resentment. So, anyhow,
And I
um,
love that. And when you're saying that, I'm starting the practice in my mind, missing boundaries,
oh,
missing boundary, missing boundary. Okay,
mhm.
audience, we can do that. Well, this is going
It's
to be fun.
powerful. It,
And
it is
we're
a
going.
powerful exercise. Yeah.
We're going to give Amy a lot of feedback, y'all. Let's make that one another. Um, and also we're going to all, I'm so excited, uh, about the practice, about your book. And I want to be, oh gosh, we're running out of time of our first call. But that's okay. And audience, we're going to come back and meet with Amy. However, I do want you to tell us about, in the event, we were part of one of your incredible groups. What does that look like? Because I want people to get in touch and connect with you and follow you. And again, audience, all of her information will be linked and you'll be able to follow her on all the platforms and all the things. But Amy, what would you
I do. Yeah. It was funny when I was with my friend yesterday, she said to her son, "Can you please tell him what you do exactly?" So I use a very specific assessment tool that's called the Habit Finder that measures your subconscious habits of thinking and the risk you have of falling into certain patterns
Mm,
of thinking.
fabulous.
Takes a picture basically of what's going on in your brain that you can't even see because it's happening below the surface. Coordinated with that is an entire curriculum that helps you replace those deep patterns of thinking with habits that will serve you better. Most of those are there because they helped you survive at some point in your life, but they are no longer serving you in your current context. They're creating resistance to progress. And so that's the work I do. I work with groups of 8 to 10 women. They're from around the country. They are I have my list in front of me, and I can't find a singular thing that they all have in common outside of being women. They're from different professions, they're different ages, they're different ethnicities, they live in different geographic areas. What they want is to turn down the volume of all of the freaking noise in their heads so that they can just do the work they do. They can just show up and create what they were put here to create. They can serve the people they're supposed to serve. And they can grow their influence and impact and income without working more hours. And so those groups I do in the fall and in the spring, like school semesters. And we
Yes.
always meet during lunch hour because most of my clients also have busy lives outside of work and want to not be busy during the evening with this kind of thing.
Right.
And then I work with people with the same tool one-on-one. So that's really the heartbeat of my work is those two, like the one-on-one work with this tool and then doing the same thing kind of in a group.
Wow.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, I hope to be part of one of those groups because I think to be able to get quiet long enough to breathe in
Mhm.
order to serve. I love the way you positioned that, to serve those we are here to serve
Yeah.
and to do and create what we are here to do and create. And
Yeah.
ultimately, all, I know the audience knows this is repetitive for me, but ultimately, what we do all have in common, every one of us, in my, to myself, to, I mean, to the depth of my core, is to help one another serve with our God given gifts.
Oh, totally.
I mean, I just,
Mhm.
I know that to be true. And what an incredible service you provide. I mean, this is incredible. Audience, please send me texts, calls, instant
Mhm.
messages, all the different messages in all the different places. And we'll get your questions to Amy. Um, Amy, what a gift to share
Mhm.
a little time with you.
Same.
Really appreciate it. And I look so forward to getting you back on to the
Mhm.
show. We'll dive in maybe a little deeper
Mhm.
to like, okay, this is what we talked about, and here's where we are. And in the meantime, oh my goodness, be careful on the pickleball field court.
Oh,
It's very dangerous. I
no.
think it's dangerous. Everybody
Only for
I know
newbies.
has
The
tourniquet
only
McGinty.
people that ever get hurt are the newbies when you're just starting out. That's the
Okay,
danger zone. But
okay.
no, we played all summer. Nobody got hurt once.
Well, that's, you must be doing things right because you're balance. You have your boundaries on how hard you're dive for that ball.
I may need some boundaries on how much pickleball I'm playing.
Thank you.
Thank
Please
you.
come back.
So
Thank you,
great.
audience. Thank you, Father. And I hope everyone has a fabulous rest of the day wherever you may be.